Good morning, day traders, and welcome to Market Minute, a hedge fund trader's technical analysis of the stock market for March 15th, 2022. Let's get after it. So this market is absolutely waiting for this FOMC decision here tomorrow. We're not sure if we're going to get a 50 basis point hike, right, or a 25 basis point hike, or even if we're going to get one at all. Now, that would be quite the outlier, and market would be very shocked. But historically, right, days before FOMC or days before sort of Fed decision are very sort of indecisive, right? Kind of like doji price action. So we need to be very cautious here today, right? And assume that this is going to be market conditions going forward, right? We have a little bit of bearish bias, but we've got very thin volume in this backdrop, right? We don't have too much context that's supporting some of these moves. And so it's very difficult for us to assume that we're going to start a trend going into tomorrow's big news event. So there's too much headline risk, right, for this to be a particularly strong trend day. So let's be very cautious and probably size down here if something does set up. My bias this morning is still to the downside, right? We've seen nothing that sort of invalidates this bearish strength here from March 8th. But, you know, we need to see a breakdown under this 415 on some volume. Yesterday, we had that slow little grind down there in the morning and then no real action in the afternoon. And I anticipate very similar action here today. Might get a little bit of some kind of like funds liquidating positions, right? Thinning out the herd a little bit. And we could get kind of a lack of liquidity sell-off. And that maybe will be the narrative early on in this morning. But it's hard to be too convinced by any of these moves until this FOMC decision kind of comes and goes. Very similar narrative here on QQQ, right? We're looking for a breakdown under this 317. If we can, right, then we have really good momentum down towards that 315 area. At least on QQQ here, right, with strong increasing volume, you know, creeping up towards that outlier. So as treasuries continue to behave crazily, right, with the 10-year T-note at 2.14, you know, there continues to be a lot of pressure here on tech. So maybe there's a little bit more of an easier narrative here for this thing to continue selling off versus the SPY. Apple, right, really good increasing outlier volume here as well. Now I'd like to see this thing break down under this 150 area. Moves under this 150, start to go towards that like 148.50, and then can push towards that 147 zone. Tesla, right? Very similar setup here across the board, right? Another increasing outlier volume. Sorry, not quite outlier volume, but definitely good increasing bearish strength here last couple days. Pair that with, say, the second most bearish, right, to kind of normal body bearish candle. We definitely have a little bit of momentum. What I like about Tesla here compared to some of these other names is that there isn't really a gap up or a gap down, right? We're kind of a market neutral open here. So we can kind of look at if things sell off, right? Tesla could be that kind of right play where it doesn't have as much sort of momentum to recover from, positive momentum to recover from before it wants to break down. And then Microsoft, right, last but not least here, a little bit of a gap up, increasing volume, right, not quite outlier. Like to see this thing break down again under this 275, then it has room down towards that 270. Increasing volume, right, a little bit of strength, definitely stepping up here, but we need a little bit more information before this thing becomes tradable. And then NVIDIA, right, definitely one to watch here today. Love this increasing volume, right? Just have really clean levels. So 211, 208.70, 206 definitely look like they could be in play, but this might be a low vol grind, so I need to be a little bit cautious here with it. In general, right, I'm anticipating this to be a very choppy session. Last couple FOMCs, right, have been sort of doji days, right? Inside bars, very thin ranges. So don't get caught up chasing action here today. Tomorrow's hopefully when that news narrative breaks us through and we can start to get some clean action again. Otherwise, guys, that's how I plan on dominating today's action. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you want to follow my day trades live, you can join at dtrtrading.com. Otherwise, I'll see you guys all tomorrow for the next Market Minute.